It's Friday night, it's 8 o'clock, it's the noise from the boys, and football's back. We're back, we're playing Scouthampton on Sunday, and we've got a full squad here. We're based now at the Anfield Hotel on Anfield Road, an iconic address, and as I said, we've got a full squad here. Myself, Jockey, we've got Chris.
Alright.
We've got Martin.
Hello.
We've got Big Red Cole.
Good evening.
And we've got a special guest who's flew 6,000 miles around the world, Kevin.
Hello there.
Right, where do we start? I think we'll start with our anchorman, Colin. Southampton Sunday, kicking off again after a magnificent season last year. We had a fella playing for us, Luis Suarez. There's no more Suarez anymore. Where do we go from here?
Well, that's the big $1 million question at the moment, Jock. Everyone seems to be...
$75 million.
$75 million question, yeah. That's what is on everyone's lips at the moment. You know, Brendan's gone out and spent the money wisely, I can see. A lot of critics are coming out and saying it's been a bit scattergun. And we could end up going down the same route as Spurs last year when they sold their main man, Gareth Bale. They bought what was basically a load of duds. But what I found interesting is that Brendan's gone out and identifies all the positions that everyone who was going to match last season was worried about. Left back, right back, a centre half, bolstering in the midfield with a ball winner. He's gone out and he's got all them positions covered now. There's one more piece of the jigsaw that we've all been talking about on our WhatsApp for the last 3-4 weeks is the striker or the goal scorer, centre forward. So as far as Suarez goes, you know, he was an amazing footballer. It was a privilege to have watched him for 2 seasons, 2.5 seasons, or whatever it was he was here. And he's gone now. And, you know, the old saying is the king's dead, long live the king. So it's onwards for us. And I actually think, we spoke to this, you know, earlier on this morning and yesterday amongst ourselves. This might sound absolutely stupid, but I think we are now in a better position, a stronger position to win the league now than we were with Suarez. Because he's actually enabled us to make our team first 11 and the 17 stronger by leaving, because we wouldn't have been able to spend this type of money. Last year we spoke about it regularly. Our first 11, 12, 13 was a match for anyone, but where we come unstuck was when we started dipping into the 14, 15, 16, going into our substitutes. They basically weren't good enough. We got found out at home against Chelsea, we got found out away against Crystal Palace when it mattered the most. We ran out a bit of steam. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Suarez, an amazing footballer, a privilege to have watched him, but, you know, he's gone now and we'll always be here.
Last season, pre-season, last year, we... Anfield FM would have a couple of press conferences with Brendan, and you could see this was right in the middle of the there's been about 3 or 4 Suarez speculation sagas, hasn't there? And I was at 1 or 2 of the press conferences, and he was kicking off for the new season, Rodgers, but you could tell he had the weight of Suarez on his shoulders. It's good that he's gone now. He's not going at the end of August, or he's not going in the January window. The weight's off, isn't it? Now we can go out and do what we want to do, and that's like, you know, challenge for the league. Chris?
Yeah, got him out of our systems early enough. I mean, we're going to miss it. I think we are going to miss him. It'll take a couple of months to get him out of our systems. I think the way we're going to play. And chances we'll get in the box. I think a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, imagine if that fell to Suarez," and imagine, you know, if it's you know, it's a nap that's going to happen. But you know, it's just, as he said, you just got to get on with it. He's gone now, and that's it. But I think we're equipped to go on and do well this season. You know, the way Brendan set us up is like, you know, we've got all the pace in the team now, and we've got, as Colin said, we've got players to cover each position, which last season we were lucky, really, with injuries and so on, because we didn't have a squad, did we? And like we didn't have the competitions like the Champions League, what we're going into this year. So we've got a squad now to go into this season, each covered. As you know, we haven't got like a striker coming in, but I think he will get one, even with Big Ricky there. But he was always going to be on the bench. I think he was always on. He's going to be a squad player. So, but I think the pace of our team next season is going to be frightening. To be honest, I really do. Like Sterling's come on from last Christmas. the way he's come on is just unbelievable. And Rodgers went on the other day and he might have Messi. It's a big shout, like, but I tell you what, that kid's going to be something else in the next. This season's going to be his defining season as well, and you can see clubs coming in for him next season for the big bid. But apart from that, I'm happy with what he's brought in. In fact, I'm amazed up with what he's brought in. And everyone's going on about this Tottenham thing and relating it to Tottenham. But that Philip Bowes, he was a bag of shite. And and the players he brought in, they were all judged. So I think these players he's brought in, this Lovren, I'm made up he got Lovren in. Top defender, and that's what we needed. And he's bolstered our defence. So the defence is what we need to sort out, and I think he's gone down the right road and sorted that out.
Thanks for that. Do you want my job?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. That's the longest he spoke in like a whole season last year.
Opinions in, yeah.
Martin?
I think the whole Suarez situation has been managed really well by Liverpool over the last 12 to 18 months. It was no secret that he wanted to up sticks and leave last summer. I think the board, I think John Henry done great in getting him to stay. If he would have went last year, I think he would have went for 40, 50 million maybe. What we could have done with that money last year would not have been enough to propel us into a Champions League place last year, I think. If we would have lost Suarez, he was the difference last year, I think. So in getting him to stay for that other year, we're in the Champions League now, and the great season that he's had has upped his price as well. So £75 million in the bank, Champions League money in the bank. Thank you very much, Louis. And I think we've spent it very well. I think he's bringing good young players in. He's bringing players into the positions that 45,000 people could see we needed those positions strengthening. I think this summer's transfer window was not just about bringing quality in, it was about quantity as well. And I think every player that he's brought in, I think you could say has ticked that box. Good young players that have, got a mixture of experience and a mixture of, youth and enthusiasm. I'm very excited for the year, I think. As Chris touched upon, we've got a team full of pace. He's looking at full-backs that have got pace, that are going to be bombing on. I think that this year you're going to see us, give some teams a real good eye this year. Again, yeah.
Kev, you're only a spring chicken. You're only 24. You've been living away in Australia for 4 years. We've seen the Dalglishers. We've seen the greats, the Keegans. Some of the greats. But you never got the chance to see Suarez in the flesh, did you? You gutted?
I am gutted, but I mean, it's just made me not feel as bad about him leaving, to be honest, because everyone's got to see him, and I didn't get to see him, so I didn't see his magic, and it's a little bit easier, softens the blow a little bit when he leaves. But as the lads have just said, we've signed a good few players, and they're all in trouble positions that I would say not just last season. I'd say we've had them trouble positions for a few years, and he's identified them within one season. And I mean, he's buying players that have got attacking work rates, defensive work rates, that work hard all game, up and down the pitch, and can play in different positions. And we haven't had that neither, you know what I mean? We haven't had players who can move, who can play around, who can swap positions mid-game. And as you said about Sterling, I think he is our new Suarez. I think he's going to be the big man next season, the one who steps up and just getting Messi's name mentioned around him is a good thing for him, a confidence booster to him, because he's going to be a top player, and I think he'll help Suarez just become something of the past.
You spoke to me about a couple of our new signings the other day. Who was you telling me about? Marino and Manquillo, was it? You knew a little bit about them, didn't you? You watch a lot of European football, don't you?
Well, yeah, over there we get to see all the games, so we get to see a lot of Spanish football, and I've seen Moreno a few times last season, and he's a lot like Jordi Alba, who plays for Barca, and he's second in line for the Spain team behind Jordi Alba, which is a shame because he's going to be just as good a player as he is. But I honestly think he's a better defender than Alba is, because he likes to chase back, he holds his position well, and he knows where the tackle is, you know what I mean? He's not afraid of the tackle, which is... It's big to say, because a lot of Europeans are scared of a tackle, and Manquillo's just the same, but he's a lot younger and didn't get as much first-team football at Atletico as Moreno did at Sevilla.
There's a couple of weeks left in the transfer window. We're getting talked. We're getting linked with Eto and a couple of others. What have you got for us, Cole?
We've done a little straw poll on Facebook to design. I think it was 158 centre forwards we've been linked with in the past 3 weeks. It's ridiculous. It's like everyone's walking around with a number on the back and they're just shouting them out and they're turning around and waving at us.
To be quite honest with you, journalists nowadays, it's that Twitter. They're on that Twitter, a journalist or a semi-journalist. They're just getting hits out of it.
Well,
you know,
they've got a job to do. They've got papers to sell, as we know.
Yeah, but they've got to tell us the truth as well, hopefully.
Well, they don't, Jock. Well, we know this more than anyone. They don't tell the truth, do they? But the amazing thing with it, though, is that the only person who counts who hasn't come out and says anything is Brendan himself. You know, we waxed lyrical about Balotelli over in America, and within 15 minutes, Twitter went viral. An £18 million bid was imminent.
And whose fault was that?
And the man next to me.
Tell us how that started, Cole.
Right, so I'll tell you what happened. And I got on our WhatsApp that we've got for Noise for the Boys. Jockey was over. He'd done a roving reporter job for Anfield FM over in the States, the pre-season tour. And he sent us a photograph of himself and Super Mario on the pitch. It was the open training day. Liverpool and AC had both done an open training day. And they invited the press to interview people. And Jockey sent us a photograph of himself interviewing Mario Balotelli. So I put it out on Twitter, and it went viral within seconds. I must have got about 50 replies asking myself, are we signing them out? What's going on? And I had to blank them all because it was a load of dog shit. But anyway, yeah. The two Brendans, it was a case of the two Brendans. Brendan Rodgers, who waxed lyrical about Balotelli, saying how much of a good footballer he was, and then Brendan Wyatt, our very own Brendan Wyatt's photograph. They put the two together, and they come up with nothing basically. But it's a shame, really, because as we spoke about before, I've got a soft spot for Balotelli. I know he's a plant pot and he's a crank, but that kid's talented, and I thought he'd have done a job for us, especially at that type of money as well.
It did really show the power of the media. If the likes of me and you can stoke up a rumour like that, it just shows you what someone with a bit of a name can do. Chris, these new signings?
Yeah, just to go back to Balotelli, I would have loved to have Balotelli in, by the way, because I think Rodgers would have been able to handle him.
Well, could you just say something else? I'm interviewing Alan Kennedy next week. I hope that doesn't go viral. I hope he's not coming back.
My all-time legends, AK, always found in the articles after every home game for a couple of cold ones.
Back to Chris.
Bit of a name dropper recently, aren't you? No, I would have liked Balotelli. He's an absolute lunatic, and what he's off the field is just down the bend. But you know, you can get him on the pitch, and he's just unbelievable sometimes. But you know, that's one of them. But new signings, lost track of how many signings we've had. We've been on the back pages a lot this season, haven't we? But I was always made up with Lallana. I said, if we get Lallana in, I'll be over the moon. So I'm happy with him. I'm really happy with him. But Lovren, the lot of them, that's who I'm made up with him.
Go on, Martin.
I think, a lot of talk has been about Suarez and replacing his goals and that type of thing. Where last year we never had a problem with scoring goals. Our main problem, I think, last year was conceding goals at the other end. So I've got every confidence that Sterling, Coutinho, Sturridge, plus who we've added to the mix in Markovic, Lallana, whoever comes into that front four, will still score us them goals. It's the leaking goals at the other end, and I think that's what Brendan's main concern was, and I think Lovren is going to go a long way to plug that.
I think we could do with a keeper as well, to be honest. Yeah. Get that keeper in we're talking about, because we talked about Mignolet a few times last season. He is a good keeper, but we definitely need a quality backup.
Yeah. The beginning of last season, first game last season was at home to Stoke. We'd done a show obviously the night before, and I listened to it last night, and Colin spoke about our pre-season, last year's pre-season. It was Dublin, Norway, Indonesia, Thailand, and he actually described last year's pre-season as dog shit. But look what happened. Look at our season. Okay, the first 6 or 7 games, I think we were only scoring 1 goal. We was without Suarez, but we were still scoring goals and winning. Do you take that back now? It must have been a good thing, that pre-season.
In one respect, it might have been a good thing, but you can only take at face value what you see when you're at them games. And we were at the Dublin match against Celtic, And if you listened to that show last night, you would have heard me say about Aspas not being good enough for the Premier League and being a bit weak. And that's all we could go. Celtic were like 4 weeks ahead of us because they had to play in a couple of qualifiers. But yeah, I mean, pre-seasons are all about getting fit. They're not about results per se, do you know what I mean? All right, they'll build confidence if you do get the right results, but the main objective is to just get your players fit, get a free-flowing style of football, which Brendan advocates, and try and get everyone gelling, especially your new signings. So I stand by everything I said last year, Jock. The pre-season last year was dog shit, but in the end it served its purpose. You know, he stumbled into it. He basically stumbled into his main 11, as I spoke about 10 minutes ago. He didn't have much room to work with, so we had a basis of 11, 12, 13 players who he could work with week in, week out, and he instilled this, this method and this ideology of his football into them. So yeah, I stand by what I say.
But you're not going to say last season was a fluke, like some of our rivals are saying.
Of course it wasn't a fluke, because 2 weeks into the season, I say we had the ability to win it. You know, I was banging on that. You nearly lashed me out the house when I said the first time. You all blew me out, but we could win the league, yeah. And
you got laughed out of town, didn't you?
Well, I did get laughed out of town for quite a long while as well, up until about 2 weeks before.
I was still laughing.
Up about 2 weeks before, when the penny dropped with you all, and went, oh my God, we could win this. But yeah, pre-seasons, I wouldn't read too much into them, do you know what I mean? I really wouldn't.
The same with this pre-season, it's all about money, isn't it? I was over there. Man City threw the game so they could come home, but we get to the final of the friendlies, and it's Man United, and surely that had to be something that got us ready for the season. The game against them was always going to be took half seriously. It
doesn't matter if you're playing them at Tiddlywinks. It doesn't matter if it's on the moon. A game with Man United anywhere in the world is always, going to be taken on board as a top match, and everyone's going to be throwing everything behind it, and which was the case as well. But we got beat 3-1. I wouldn't read too much into that. I think when we get into Anfield or Old Trafford, it certainly won't be 3-1 to United. Okay,
yeah, you wouldn't read too much into it, but then a week later we beat Dortmund 4-0, and everyone's going crazy. We're back. We're brilliant. You can't have one and not have the other.
You usually find the people that are going overboard, Jock, are the ones that are tickled quite easily with the one or two results. We know we can see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? It's a pre-season friendly against Dortmund. They didn't have half of the World Cup players or half of their first team out. All right, we looked really good. The football was amazing, but we were allowed to play it. I think there was nothing at stake either. So, and the players knew that. But I mean, people going overboard for a 4-0 win at home at Dortmund, just throw the brakes on a little bit.
Yeah, Dortmund actually flew in for that game 4 hours before and flew back out. But then they went and beat Bayern Munich 2-0 a couple of days later. Chris?
No, I was going to say the same about Man U. That people saying, we got beat by Man U 3-1 and all that. Although we did batter them up until we were getting beat 2-1, but we played well in the first half. But then everyone jumps on the bandwagon saying we were brilliant against Dortmund. So it is going to be they are fickle. There's a lot of fickle fans out there, and I think it's going to be like that this season. If Liverpool lose 2 games on the bounce, something like that, you're going to get a lot of people jumping on Brendan's back, and I'll tell you that now. But that's the nature of the game nowadays, isn't it? But you just got to look at the bigger picture, and I think this season will be successful.
Okay, Martin, is Southampton going to bring the teams Sunday?
I think.
Is there any left?
They've had quite a big insurgence of new players. I don't know half of them. He's brought in about 3 lads from the Dutch league. It was mentioned that he's probably going to be the best signing of the season for them. Sammy Lee knows the Premiership well. He seems to have bought a lot of up-and-coming talent from Holland, a lad who top scorer in the 2nd division in Holland, lad who was 2nd top scorer in the 3rd division.
Sorry to interrupt, Matt. We've sold Suarez and they've bought Pele.
Yeah, they bought a few Italians that I've never heard of. So I think it's going to be a brand new team for Southampton, similar to what it was last year.
You looking forward to the Southampton game, Kev?
Yeah, I think we're going to be playing them with their whole core of their team from last season in our team, so it's going to be a little bit weird for them. But the signings they've made, it's going to be a transitional year for them, similar to what we had, maybe the half a season before last season. And I feel that they're going to struggle a little bit, but I think they'll do all right because the manager seems like he knows what he's doing and he's a good tactician.
Does anyone know how much they've spent?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly how much they've spent now, Jock. It's in the region of around about 50, 60 million quid.
And how much have they had in?
It's all scouts dough what they're spending though.
Well, Jochto. Chris?
I don't think we'll get many Southampton players playing for us against Southampton on Sunday.
Just be Lovren, probably.
Lovren, I just think you'll get Lovren starting on Sunday, to be honest with you. So they're going to build it up as this game is like Southampton v Southampton and all that, but I can only see Lovren starting, to be honest with you. I think that team that started in Storm, and I think that's going to be around about the team that's apart from Johnson, hopefully. I think if Moreno is fit and ready to go in, I think just throw him straight in,
Okay. Kev, did you want to speak then?
Yeah, I was just going to say about the first game of the season. I think he's going to start Moreno, and I think we'll only start Lovren, but I think they're going to be a bit gutted when they see Lovren playing for us and they see how much of a strong player he is. And I'd say the big team seeing what a swoop he was for us as well. He's a leader on the pitch.
He's a player, you know. I just made he scored against us last season, and then they beat Man United at Old Trafford, or drew against Man United. And he pointed him out a few weeks later on Match of the Day, and I kept an eye on him from then on. And I tell you what, I watched him, and he's class. He is utter class, and he's a leader. He shouts and he balls. What we didn't have last season. Agger didn't shout, Skirtle didn't shout, and all. And we missed Carragher, didn't we, with his voice? So we've got that back now. We've got the leadership back, what we needed. Know what I mean? So we had Sore shouting, but he was shouting at himself for just falling over his fucking bootlaces and everything else. Know what I mean? So as long as he leaves his roller boots back at home and doesn't come out on the pitch on them, he might be all right. Martin?
Yeah, I think Brendan's been crying out for someone to organise that back four since Cara went. I've always been a bit suspicious of Agger and Skirtle playing together. They both seem a bit quiet and both want to be led by the other. So it's good that we've got someone that's going to grab that back four by the scruff of the neck and organise them and shout them and cajole them. But one thing that has impressed me about Lovren is his ball playing ability as well. Left-footed, right-footed. The game against Dortmund, he pinged the ball into I think it was into Coutinho, and Coutinho flicked it on and Sturridge ran through and scored. So I think we're going to get a lot of benefit from him with his head up and looking to find players, and the stats and stuff are very promising for him in terms of pass completion and things like that.
I think with Lovren, he's a commanding presence, so I think he's good for players like Flanagan and Moreno and Manquillo, because he's going to teach them how to hold the line and when to be back, and he's going to shout at them, he's going to be dominant over them, he's going to make them better defenders in the long run, really. And I think he's going to be a big presence in the changing rooms as well. I think once he's found his feet and he knows everyone, I think he'll start stepping up and using the voice he uses on the pitch in the changing rooms.
Colin?
One player we haven't touched on, who I'm really looking forward to seeing Sunday if he's chosen to play, is Emre Can. I love footballers who stick, especially midfielders, who stick the foot in, get involved. You know what I mean? This kid looks like he looks like he's going to love a battle on the pitch. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's exciting times for Liverpool at the moment with the signings. Yeah,
the transfer window's open. Is there any chance we can open it a little bit wider and kick a couple of players out of it? Colo and Barini?
Well, there's a few there that you wonder whether Brendan's had his hands full buying everyone and they haven't got time to get rid of this shite. But we've spoke about it numerous times. There's Pepe Reina's gone, although I was a bit dubious as to that decision. I'm sure he should have stayed. That's another one for another time. But you've got Lucas, you've got Agger, you've got Luis Enrique, there's Glenn Johnson. I mean, the list now, it's virtually a full side of players who we should be looking to march out the door, and there just doesn't seem to be any. Maybe it'll take one person and it'll snowball, but there's players there now on good dough who aren't going to get anywhere near the subs bench, never mind the first 11.
The likes of Versailles as well. Martin?
I think Barini is stood at the back door at the moment, stood looking out into the back garden, and we're just waiting on someone coming in the front door. That's the only reason he's here by default at the moment. I think as soon as Brendan finds someone to come through the front door, I think the Sunderland thing will all fall into place.
Not for that 14 mil though, what we nearly got. I doubt it.
It looks like they're willing to pay it. It looks like Sunderland are happy to pay that type of money. With the type of money that's being banded around, television money, Champions League money, the whole transfer market has ballooned players are being paid over the odds, but that's just the nature of the business now, supply and demand. And I think 14 million, yeah, it might be a little bit over the odds, but that's the way the transfer market's gone.
I was looking at Sky yesterday, all the transfers, and Sunderland have brought quite a few in since the Barini the bid sort of thing. Chris?
I've got a theory on Barini. It's he's got a Scouse beard, hasn't he? And he's just got engaged with I seen it on Twitter. He got engaged with in New York. Just I think he was just after pre-season or before pre-season, just after the World Cup anyway. Seen it all over it. Just a little Scouse beard, and I'm just thinking that his beard wants to stay in Liverpool, and she's told him to put the brakes on, and his half fella wants tickets for the game. He's tweaking all that. I reckon his half fella's a mad red and just doesn't say, keep him here, whatever you'd say, you keep him here.
Just keep him.
If she's a proper Scouse beard, she'll march him up to Sunderland for that 10% transfer fee. There's about £1.5 million at stake here.
Imagine how many dresses you get out of the cricket with that. Kevin, you had something to say?
No, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say now.
All right.
You left me out till the end, didn't you?
Yeah. Okay, where are we up to now, Carl? The season ahead. It's Southampton tomorrow. I don't even know what we're kicking off with. How many? What's our starting first 5 games?
Well, the first 5 games off the top of my head, you've caught me cold. Southampton, Man City, Tottenham.
West Brom.
Let's just stick to the Southampton game at the moment. Is we're at home. Should be an easy 3 points. As you have all said there before about Koeman, he's not a bad manager, this Koeman, and he seems to have plugged all the little problems that he's had, and he's got on with his job quietly and confidently. Seems to know what he's doing. I don't think it's going to be a pushover by any means, but I'm quite confident that Liverpool on Sunday will send a statement out right across the board on the telly that Suarez has gone, but we're still here and we're not going away.
Yeah, just been watching polls on Sky, and they've got Liverpool down as they're going to win the league on Sky. I mean, I've spoke to Manx, not saying they're all your fans voting for it, but it's still Sky. You know, there's other fans watching as well. The season ahead.
Yeah, I think we'll come flying out the blocks. I think young, vibrant team. I think he'll start with Sterling, Coutinho, Sturridge. I think he'll throw Henderson into that mix, and I think he'll start Shan and Gerrard. I don't think he'll play Moreno. I think he'll play Johnson as left back, and I think he'll play Manquillo at right back with Skrtel and Lovren. Same as last year. I expect us to come out the blocks. We're doing all right for injuries. Just a couple of people due to come in. Do you think Markovic probably might make the bench or whatever? So we haven't got many people out. Good full squad going into the start, and I think we'll win it emphatically on Sunday.
Getting 3 points on the first game of the season is always good, no matter what season it is. And considering what happened last season, I think it's important we get these 3 points in this game against Southampton, get right out the blocks and do what we done at Anfield last season. Just go at teams and let them come at us and then just hit them on the break like we were doing last season. Pace, quick, get the goals in early, you know what I mean? Get a few goals in and start the season off well again like we did. Well, we stumbled into them 3 games last season. We won 1-0 and we got 9 points out of the first 3 games. So we've got to, we're going into the Southampton game, it's imperative that we get them 3 points. And then we've got City then, which is important, all you want out of these games, you look at like Chelsea last season, Mourinho always goes for a draw away and tries to nick a win at home against the big teams. So as long as you get a result against City away, that's all you're looking for, a draw, that'll do us. And then obviously it's just take every game as it comes, as we say, but I think it's important we beat Southampton on Sunday, and I think we will.
I think we're good enough to win the league this year. I really do, and I've noticed now no one's laughing at me or telling me to keep quiet or you don't know what you're talking about. I think we're in a stronger position this season to win the league, based on the fact now that these players have had a proper 12 months under Brendan's ideology how to play football. They all know what they've got to do. They're all hungry. They seem to have gelled quite quickly. The new players that have come in are all top draw. no matter what your Evertonians or your Man United fans might say, he's bought brilliantly. Brendan Rodgers, this transfer window. We're just one player short. I think we're one short in the jigsaw, and it's got to be top. It's got to be a marquee signing, centre forward, goal scorer, proven in the Premiership. Going back to what Chris has just said about Man City there, we played City off the park last year at Main Road at the Etihad, and we should have come away with at least a draw. Sterling's goal was given offside, and he was miles on. You know, Chris is doing shapes there because we all ended up in the States. But
that was that night, weren't it?
Yeah,
I'm still recovering now.
We all are, I think. But yeah, going back to the season ahead, Liverpool. I put my money where my mouth was a couple of weeks ago. I've backed us at 11-1, and I think we're going to go at this full pelt for this league. We've got nothing to be scared of with any of the major sides. I mean, I'm reading on some of the fixed odds coupons. United seems to be better at 5-1 or 6-1, and we're out at 11s. And you're looking at it and thinking, don't you people learn? So I'd advise everybody, just go and get your little tenner or your 20 quid and stick it on us, because you'll stick it on us to win the league, because you're going to get a hell of a ride out of your score.
Kevin?
Just touching on what Chris and what Colin said about the first game of the season, I think it's the most important game, really, because especially us being at home at Anfield and the season we had last season, I think we just need to come out and just, not even just come out and score 3 or 4, just come out and dominate the game from start to finish and just show that football that we can do. And I think it'll ease everyone's minds, because where we are about 6 seasons ago, where we're up there with City and we're up there with the big teams, Arsenal and that, and people are looking at us as a dominant top 4 force rather than a team struggling to get back in there and a team with a big name and a big history. I think people are taking us seriously, so we need to prove to them that we can do it and that we can come out and be a big team just like the others and use our signings to our benefit.
Martin?
I think the Suarez question mark is still hanging in the back of everyone's mind. It's this little,
until we kick off.
Exactly, it's this 2% in the back of our mind. We've 98% full of optimism. We've 2% got this question mark. Can we recreate the form that we had last year? And there's only one way to show that, isn't it?
Remember last season we scored 101 goals. We were out Suarez for the first 6 games, I think. He scored 31 goals. We still had other players who scored 70. But they were all going in. Do you remember the season before when everything it hit the woodwork, didn't it? Is it about luck? What is it?
Oh, you make your own luck, don't you? I think this year, the other 4 that I touched upon earlier, the 4 attacking players, I think you've got 2 young kids in Coutinho and Sterling who, as they get older, the kids still at the end of the day, 21 and 19 are they? Every year they're going to get stronger and become men and become more athletic and, more experienced. So I think those lads are going to grab it by the scruff of the neck this year. They've got to. Brendan's going to ask that question of them. This is your stage now, lads. And I think they're going to chip in with more goals. I think Sturridge he'll score more goals because he's the main man now. He's the main man up there.
Sorry, Colin, I'm going to go against you again this season, mate. I was miserable last season. I was getting called miserable and all that, but I weren't miserable. I was just looking at it like, it's a long season and anything can happen. And look what did happen. I'm not just blowing my own trumpet and saying I was right. But no, I did think after the City game, I thought we were going to win the league, and obviously we never. But I don't think we can win the league this season. I think we're a couple of years ahead of where Rodgers started, when he come in and said he's going to do this and he wants to get another 30 goals and this, that and the other. He's a year or 2 ahead of where we should be. We're in the Champions League now, where we haven't even mentioned the Champions League, by the way. And where we are in this hotel, it's brilliant where we are. And there's European Cups, it's Liverpool and the European Cups around me everywhere. And we haven't even mentioned about what we're going to do in Europe, by the way. So I don't think we're going to win the league. I think we'll be up there challenging for the top 4. And that'll do me, you know what I mean? As long as we're still there and we're getting points off the top teams, we're going to be there or thereabouts, and that'll do me again. And we still same brand of football, same style of plays last season. I'll be more than happy because I come out of that ground each week, and I hadn't seen football like that since '88. And that's a big compliment I can give Liverpool and Brendan Rodgers, apart from anything else. But getting back to win the European Cup, I think that could be a little thing that we could sneak this season.
Martin?
I think our Champions League run will please us more than what we do in the league next year. I don't think we'll win the league next year. I think we'll have another good goal. We'll definitely, I think, second or third. I won't say who I think's going to win it because that's not what it's about. But I think we're capable with the way he set the team up of having a great run in Europe. Over 2 legs, he can change it. Tactically, he's proved that he can change the formation and sit in and defend the lead. And, you know, if we need to get a couple of goals and we bring the team to Anfield, you know what the European nights are like. With the type of football that we play, the atmosphere is going to be electric. So my prediction is at the end of the year, we're talking more about the Champions League run than what we've done in the league.
Yeah. Kevin?
Yeah, as you said there about the Champions League, I've always felt that we're a bigger force in Europe than any other English team. I think Barca's and your Real Madrid's and your Dortmund's, I think it puts up strikes fear into them when they get us in.
And we're going to get Barca, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to get Barca, or we're going to get Munich, or we're going to get Madrid. We're going to get one of them big teams, and I think we're going to go out there and beat them in both legs, just because I think they're terrified of us. They have been for years, everyone is, and like City going into the Champions League, they've got no pedigree for it. So for Barca to coming up against the City, they haven't really got the best fans, and they haven't got much of a following, and the grounds are empty and stuff in Champions League group games against Dortmund, who've just won the German league, and you're in the Champions League, you know what I mean? Your ground should be shocking, but I think with us having the 12th man there behind them and all that, like I think it makes big European teams terrified of us, and I think we will have a strong run. I think we might actually go out there and, final maybe, semi-final, win it or something first season, just because we're that type of team, aren't we, in Europe?
We are that type of team, and also we are back. We must be back if the likes of Man United are using us as a yardstick now. Man United are saying, well, we're not in Europe this year. They've watched us last season. We're not in Europe. We can do what Liverpool's done. Using us as a yardstick, that shows that we're back. But anyway, I'm going to go back to the domestic game last season, and a lot of people will say we lost that league because Stevie G slipped up, or Kolo Touré give that goal away at West Brom. But there was also a sending off near the end of the season, Colin. A fella you stood on all last season, even when he wasn't looking too good at the beginning. A fella called Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, things happened towards the end of the season. The gods were against us, and it was a little bit of fate. But yeah, he did get sent off, and then we did have Stevie G slip, and then we did have the capitulation at Crystal Palace. And without blaming anybody, it was a mixture of all that, plus a little bit of Brendan's naivety, etc. What we all thought he should have went against Chelsea, especially. He should have shut up shop, which I don't think he should have. He should have just cracked on the way we played all season, and he did. So, it's a little bit of everything in the mix there. But yeah, going back to what you just mentioned, Jordan Henderson, people have mentioned other people, who's going to start. I can guarantee you right now he is first on that team sheet every single week for what he does. He's coached, but Brendan Rodgers and Pascal have coached this fella into being now a pivotal player in Liverpool's, very recent past and most definitely for the next 5 years. And I've said it before, Jock, this kid will go on and make 500 appearances for Liverpool and he'll captain the club. It's nailed on.
He can play. I think you'll see him playing in 3 or 4 different positions for Liverpool this year. I think, as we seen against Dortmund, he pushed them up into that front four, which he can do. He can be an attacking force. I think you'll see him playing the olden 2 alongside Gerrard or alongside Chan or alongside Alno or whoever. And as he done last year, sometimes he slotted him as a right wing back when he went, when he played sort of 5 at the back, he slotted him over there. And I think you're right. I think he's the first name on the team sheet. He's the type of player. If he came on the market, Mourinho would bite your hands off for him, because Mourinho likes players that put a shift in, that work hard for the team. Your Matas fall by the wayside, your Hazards fall by the wayside. Mourinho doesn't buy them. He's not into that type of player. He's into players that work for the team ethic. And I tell you, if he became available for whatever reason, Mourinho would spend 35-40 million on him. Kevin?
I think, as Martin was saying, and I think that's the positive Rodgers has took from Mourinho working underneath him, is he wants players who works hard. And we signed Henderson before Rodgers came in, but he identified him as a big player already, and he used him to all his strengths. And I think he's probably, don't quote me on this, but I think he's probably the most improved footballer in Wales football last season. improved. I mean, considering how bad he was the season before and how scarce his touch was and his presence wasn't there on the pitch. And now, I mean, he's got that logic in him to just run all over the pitch, and he's non-stop all game. And I think he commands the players, and young players seeing him, they see him and they think, oh, I want to be like that, I want to work like that, I want everyone to notice how hard I'm working. And I think it rubs off on other players, and I think he's, you know, he's our Stevie G. He's our Stevie G in the making. He's not going to be the same type of player as him, but I think he's got that passion to him. And like, do you see the picture of him last season when he went to the Sunderland game in the FA Cup, and he's sitting with all the fans with his hood up, just in the crowds. He's just a local lad who's grew up to be a top football player, and he's just got that raw passion inside him, something that we've been able to channel so far, and I think we'll be able to keep channeling it as well for the next few seasons until, as Colin said, he becomes captain.
If you cast your minds back to the Windsor, it's Christmas Windsor 2012, they were trying to get him off to Fulham to get the wages off the bill, and you think, fucking hell, thank Christ he didn't go. Do you know what I mean? But all he needs to do, Jordan Henderson, obviously, I know Brendan Rodgers, but he's just got to get his head down, keep working hard, and if he can just stick 10 goals a season at the moment into his itinerary, we've got a whale beater there. And people laugh at you when you talk about it, you know what I mean? But the kid's got everything. He was a blank canvas when Brendan came in. Kevin's just said there, Brendan didn't buy him. He probably didn't fancy him either when he first saw him, because he was a bit gangly. First touch wasn't up so much, and you were wondering, what are you actually bringing to the side, you know what I mean? But look what good, solid coaching does for you. If you've got the ability as a sponge, you know, to take it all in and listen to what you're doing, I mean, the sky's the limit for these kids at the moment. And another one as well, I read a quote in the paper this morning. Brendan Rodgers waxing lyrical about Raheem Sterling. He actually said he was a beautiful young boy. And I thought, hang on a minute, Operation fucking Youth, you're going to be knocking on the door in a minute. But when you think about it, he's building these kids up. He's letting them know that he's got everything that he needs to do. And Kevin touched on it before. Get out there and express yourselves. You know, the world's your oyster. You're on good dough. You're playing in a fantastic stadium. You've got nearly 50,000 people a week behind you screaming your name, wanting you to do well. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, big seasons for Henderson and Sterling for me. These massive, massive seasons.
Chris? It's funny how Rodgers talks, Colin. He's a beautiful boy, he plays beautiful football and all that. It's funny the way he goes on, he touches, he like, grabs them by the neck. And like we said it last season, he's a bit Shankly-esque, you know what I mean? But you've got to take your hat off to Rodgers, because he's worked wonders with Henderson. Henderson come in like a rabbit caught in the headlights that first season, and every ball was astray, and you could see he was nervous, he was really nervous. So he's worked wonders with him. He's worked wonders with Sterling. He's brought Sterling on leaps and bounds. And what he done for Suarez last season, and like, not just Suarez, you know, with Suarez, you know, he's a great player, but Rodgers made him into that type of player as well. He got the best out of Suarez last season. So you've got to give Rodgers credit for that in itself. So he's building a team, like everyone was saying last season, like in the song. But he's building that team of the young players, hungry players. He's bringing players in who want to play, not players who've got egos and all this, like Eto, bring Eto in. No chance. You don't want players like that. You want players who want to come and play for you and play for the team players. And that's what Rodgers is trying to implement. And you know what? He's a breath of fresh air, Rodgers. He's beautiful.
Yeah, you've just mentioned there that he's Shankly-esque, and he is a man of the people. Our Kev's here, as you read before, he hasn't been to a game for 4 years. He's on from Australia, and your mate who's never been to a game before is from New Zealand, and he's about going the game Sunday. Tell us where you got your tickets from.
Luckily enough, I know the other Brendan who's massive in Liverpool Football Club, and he seemed to get a good word in for me, didn't he, in Chicago, or was it New York?
Yeah. It was in Chicago. What it was, I was just I'd been to the press conference, and I was just walking down the tunnel, and who comes walking down the corner at Liverpool's dressing room was Brendan Rodgers. He went, "So how are you getting on? I haven't seen you for a while." And I said, that's what he said to me. He said, "No, he did." I said, "That's because you're a superstar now. We can't get near you now." And he just started laughing. He said, "Do you need any tickets?" And he went for the tour. I said, no, I'm all right for tickets for tour. I said, but funny enough, I need 2 tickets for the Southampton game. My lad's coming home from Australia. I sort of caught him off guard. But anyway, he gave me some contact details to go through the club. And I sent the email the other day and explained, just to remind him, because he said, remind me needed today. And good enough, yesterday I got an email off his PA saying that the tickets are there, fine, come and pick your tickets up. So yeah, our Kev's got 2 tickets for the game against Southampton. Don't be asking for me for next week's game.
No, well, I did ask you for one as well, by the way. But I know Kevin and his mate. I'll give it to you. I got them anyway. I went through my own channels. I'm not dropping no names. Kenny Dalglish.
Well, what I'm saying is the fella come good. You know what I mean? Yeah, no. He didn't have to.
Yeah, he's beautiful though, isn't he? As I said, but no, I've got a long lost. Well, he's not my uncle. It's me.
Well, before we go any further, anyway, we've been on the show now 35 minutes, and no one's congratulated Chris. We had a noise from the boys' wedding this last weekend, wasn't it, Chris? And we all turned out, all the lads from the noise from the boys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did say, man, I'm sorry, I did invite everyone. Yeah. I told you.
It was my birthday though, and I had other plans.
Oh, that hard chestnut, yeah, never mind.
It was a great night, and at the end of the night we'd done a good old Liverpool tradition. The last song of the night was "You Never Walk Alone," and Chris was lifted aloft by about 15 to 20 lads, and You Never Walk Alone, he was lifted high in the air. And if you want to see that, if you're interested in seeing that, go onto our website, AnfieldFM.org, and go onto the news tab, click the news tab, and you'll see Chris getting You Never Walk Alone at the end. It was magnificent.
It's funny because you just see about 4 sets of hands trying to get on his keck's pockets. Don't know what they're trying to get out of it, though.
Not in their pockets, by the way. On the bathroom.
It was free ale. It was free ale, and the poor lad couldn't get a drink himself. He had to keep sending me to the bar because he had no money in his. The free ale had run out, and he had no money left to buy a bevy. He had to buy him a bevy on his wedding night. But so that's that. As the lads gather the thoughts about what we're going to talk about next, we're going to tell you a little bit of what's going on at Anfield FM this year. Obviously, we're in new surroundings here at the Anfield Guest House. An iconic address, just a stone's throw from the Hillsborough Memorial. Yeah, we're just on Anfield Road, about 2 streets before the grounds, aren't we? It's a great place. Go onto the Anfield Guest House website. It's normally full when games are on, but just check for availability. Anyway, I've stayed here myself, and it's a nice place to stay on. At a great place and a great host in Jay. Also, we're going to have a few shows this year. Obviously, the noise from the boys will be based here now. We're missing one of our lads tonight because he's working, but the Caveman will be back next week, firing on all cylinders. We've got the Flagpole 1906 lads doing their shows on a Tuesday night, so tune in for that. We'll have live from the Solly after the game on Sunday. We'll be live from Riley's before the game on Sunday. We've also got a new feature coming up every week, hopefully, called Kings of the Cop. We recorded it last night with Jerry Blaney, who was voted Liverpool's first ever #1 fan back in 2001. He's got loads of tales to tell about travelling around Europe watching the Reds, and he's actually got a book out called In My Blood. Also, the legends, the ex-Liverpool players, have got a golf day on the 15th of September, which hopefully Colin is covering. Colin, do you want to tell us a bit about that golf day, or shall I just carry on? It's a charity golf day. It's the likes of Alan Kennedy, Jan Mulby, David Fairclough. They're all doing it for charity, and they're having a golf day, and people can sponsor it as well. You can put a team in for £550, I think. A team of 3, and your 4th player will be one of the legends. So that'll be getting posted up on our website soon, and also on our Facebook and Twitter feed. So keep an eye on that. But I'll be interviewing Alan Kennedy next week about that, hopefully. Anyway, anything else going on?
Well, I think we can move swiftly on to the weekend betting then, Jock. And Kev, everybody's over the moon. The coupons are back, aren't they? I mean, you're twiddling your thumbs on a Saturday morning, wondering what you're going to do, and then as soon as you can smell the season start, all the coupons are out. I just want to bring to everyone's attention, and not that they need to, I'm not going to try and tell the lads how to suck eggs, but Betfred have got a cracking coupon out called Double Delight and Hat-Trick Heaven, and what it is basically is you stick your money on your first goal scorer, and if he obliges and scores first, you've got your dough in. But if he then goes on and scores 2, they double your dough. And if he manages to get at sich, they treble your winnings. So it's well worth a little gamble. I mean, instantly, Daniel Sturridge stands out for that type of bet, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He's forever getting braces in games, especially against weaker sides. So, yeah, look out for that. And you bet. I know people are going to say, oh, fucking the little fat ballsy mank. But try and take some dough. Use it as a little bit of an incentive to take dough off him, do you know what I mean? And it's a smashing opportunity to put some money in your pocket, I think. And that's my bet for the weekend. If you get yourselves into Betfred, first goal scorer on Sunday, Daniel Sturridge, hopefully he'll go on score 2 and 3, and you'll put some good money in your pocket Sunday night.
You had a few winners last season, didn't you?
We smashed this. Like I had a good go on the first goal scorers, and I done really well. So yeah, I'm not going to wax lyrical and start throwing bouquets at myself. But if you do, what I'll try and do is I'll put the selection up on the Twitter and Facebook feeds. I'll put the selection up when the show finishes in a minute, and then you just stick a couple of pounds on them and see where it goes, you know what I mean? And it can only benefit yourselves if you're winning it.
I'm going to follow you this season because I didn't win a sausage last season. I got Sturridge first goal last season against Villa, Sturridge first goal 1-0 against United, and that was it all season. Took it into the World Cup, not a sausage. Argentina let me down, big star, and done me head in. But I'll follow you, Lloydie, this year, if you don't mind.
It's a beautiful relationship, Chris.
I say you do the Twitter. Who's been following us? Who's ready to listen? Who's ready to listen in? Who's asking you to get going?
I've got a couple of people I want to say hello to tonight off Twitter and Facebook as well. But it's Big Gary Ferguson's kid's birthday today. The twins, young Gary and Lindsay, they're 30 today. So best wishes to the two of them, and I hope you've had a really good day. And another mention to a good old Liverpool fan himself, Big Paul Sutherland, Big Tuddy. He'll be listening to this in some hotel probably, because he's like myself. He travels the length and breadth of Britain doing work. And if he's not, he's probably on the air somewhere. So good to see that you're following us, Tud, and up the Reds.
Do you do the Twitter thing? Yeah, well, we mate, a couple of us know Paul. You know Paul Woods. And he got followed back on Twitter off the Nftbs FM. What is it? Yeah, he got followed back off that, and he was phoning me up today. He said it was like getting followed back off Daglish or something like that. He was made up. He told me to say that. So yeah,
the Twitter Collins fans who's the Noise from the Boys Twitter, but I'll give him the login for the Nftbs FM Twitter this year as well. What else have we got? Weekend betting. Was anyone else going to pipe up on that? Where are we going now, Col? Wanker of the week. Well, our resident vocalist isn't here this week, so it's Wanker of the week. Is there any? Have you got anyone? We can't go for Frank Maloney, can we?
What about Cliff Richards?
No, that's we know the police can get things wrong, and they have had a few wrong. So let's not. We might end up getting done for defamation.
It could be like we were actually praising him because apparently it looked like he liked it.
The young ones.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony Pullis. Yeah. Tony Pullis. Anyone? What's happened? I don't know.
I think it's the poor with money and everything else, isn't it? Yeah.
I've been following this story all weekend. It's apparently it's been going on for a couple of weeks behind the scenes there, and it came to a halt after they didn't put a bid in for one of the players that were on the transfer list at another club. He managed to get Martin Kelly in yesterday for 1.5 million quid. Now, what this is about is apparently Pulis went to Steve Parish with a list of footballers that he wanted, and the list basically didn't get touched. Mr. Parish went out and bought people off his own bat. He got in Fraser Campbell, Martin Kelly, as we know, and Breda Anglin from Fulham for nothing. So all it basically seems to have come down to is what Chris has just said, a lack of money or a lack of investment from the chairman, Mr. Parrish.
Well, I'll go with that then, because when we went to Palace last season, do you know what? Their fans were brilliant, and that was the best game I've been. I've been to some games in Europe, and their support's as good as any team I've seen in Europe. We were in their end, but it's that little corner section what they've got, and I tell you what, they deserve a good little run in the Prem for that. The support they get, it's brilliant. You know, you wouldn't get support like that. I mean, you get it at Anfield, but you get told to sit down whenever you stand up. Whereas they've got fellas standing at the front like you're doing, like the Ukraine and all that, with the tops off tied round their heads, and you know, we're giving it all that one, and it's brilliant. So that board for letting him go, it's daft, because he done it. What a job he done near the end of the season with them.
It was the players that Pulis has identified were Stephen Corker, Gylfi Sigurdsson, and he also put a little sly bid in for Wilfie Zaha to come back from Man United. And it looks, and just taking them 3 players at face value, they're going to be coming in on top dough, aren't they? You know, they're all on top dough at the clubs after that. So you can see where the breakdowns occurred there. They would have cost top money to get them in, and then the wages on top. And Parrish is just basically he's carsied it and told him he's not getting them, and he's walked.
So this week's Wankers of the Week is the Fulham board?
Steve Parrish, chairman of Crystal Palace.
What did I say? The Fulham board, sorry. Crystal Palace board. Okay, so here's the Wankers of the Week. It's not we haven't got a big razzmatazz as normal because it's the beginning of the season. So we'll move on to the weekend score and the week of the betting. What we're doing. Predictions for the weekend, Liverpool, Southampton?
I'll go 4-0 the Reds.
And who's going to score the first goal?
Got to go with Sturridge, haven't you? Or maybe Sturridge, or go on, I'll go with Sturridge.
Martin?
I'll go for Sterling, 4-0 as well.
Kevin?
I go for Sterling, 3-0.
Colin?
Chris said he's going to follow me, and I'm going to concur with everything that Chris has just said there. It's going to be Daniel Sturridge, the first goal. Hopefully he'll go on and get 2 or 3, and we'll clean up at Betfred, and it's going to be Liverpool 3, Southampton 0.
Okay, all last season, we're all a bit biased all last season. You've got to remember the goals what we conceded last season. I think we'll concede tomorrow, and I'm going to go for Liverpool 3-1 and Henderson. Chris, you had your hands up?
Yeah, I think so.
Not tomorrow, Sunday.
I think Lovren will get a sneaky little goal as well, coming in. I was going to say Lovren first goal, but it was just being a little bit romantic. But no, I'll go Sturridge 4-0 and Lovren to squeeze one in somewhere.
Okay, thanks for joining us. That's the end of the show. Next week, the Caveman will be back. We'll be a full squad and up the Reds.
Up the Reds.